This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Breaking up, Bob.
Play around with a bad football team, bad things happen. No! Personal foul. Flipping.
This is 9 to noon at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, home to your Minnesota Vikings. It is our regular Tuesday stop. The Vikings have the Chargers Thursday night at SoFi. More on that coming up very, very soon. But we are happy to welcome back into the Love Covenant Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, into his fourth full season leading our Timberwolves. And the regular season opener is tomorrow night at Portland. And Chris joins us every week, or certainly close to every single week, 9 to noon, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. And here he is. Chris, it's Paul Allen. How you been, my friend?
I've been great. How about yourself, PA?
Yeah, great. Sounds like you're smiling right now because you know I'm just going to get out of the way. Did you go to the game Sunday and pull for your favorite team?
I did go to the game. It was a very entertaining game. And I'll tell you what, like, I knew you were gonna bring this up. So I just love football because it's for me it's the one sport I can watch without having to like try to dissect it. You know, I can just watch it from a fan point of view. And I thought the game was a really, really great game to watch just from that point of view. And I have an affinity for the Vikings, of course. So I love to see them do well. So it's always tough. You have long-standing allegiance to a team that you grew up with.
Yes.
But I'm happy to be here in the city, and I think really, really happy to. Well, I think let's put it this way. I think we got a great coach in Kevin O'Connell because while I've never met Kevin, like I do admire him from a coaching perspective that he always has his team in a position to win games. And, sometimes it comes down to players having to execute. I'm not a football guy. I can't break down a football game. I don't pretend to talk that way about it. But as a fan and as a coach who can understand what good coaching does look like, we got a great one here in the city. So.
The reigning National Football League Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell, no doubt about it. Let's unfurl a FIFA early, FIFA. This is Fairness and Finchy Act. For those of you who don't know, like where Chris came from, he referenced it early. It's FIFA. It's Fairness and Finchy Act. He's from the East Coast and he's from the Philadelphia area, so he grew up a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And he was at the game Sunday, and his team got the money and ours didn't. And we're super happy for everybody involved. At U.S. Bank Stadium, what kind of seats did you have? Like, where'd you watch the game from?
Fortunate to, organizationally, we have some team seats down along, right behind the visitors bench, about 4 rows back on the 45-yard line. So great seats to see a game.
Yeah, those are fantastic. I'm sure when the Bears are in town, if you guys are in town, media relations guru Aaron Freeman, who loves the Chicago Bears, I'm sure he's going to be in that fourth row, those fourth row ducats wearing a game-worn Walter Payton, right?
Well, out of respect for the environment, we never wear our fan gear.
What?
We go in neutral colors, shall we say?
You didn't wear your prized game worn Harold Carmichael?
I was a Wilbur Montgomery guy growing up. That was my guy.
Right. All right. Let me just ask this before we get into your squad. And the NBA begins this evening. Got a couple of games this evening. Super cool. And is your game against Portland's tomorrow night, correct? Season opener tomorrow night or Thursday?
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so safe travels today. They've had some unrest in that city, so keep everybody safe. Would you like in Minneapolis? All right, would you openly root for the Eagles at a bar in Minneapolis? Like, hey, that's Finchy. Oh wow, Devontae just got behind everybody, and the guy over there in the Wilbur Montgomery game warn's going nuts. Oh, wait, that's Wolves head coach Chris Finch. Would you ever do that at a local bar?
No, I don't believe so. I try to be, a very measured and respectful and appropriate fan whenever I can be. So,
what your coaching staff? You mentioned coaches earlier, and just peering over some things yesterday in advance of this. What is important to you with keeping consistency with your coaching staff? Because you a lot of the same names, a lot of the familiar names who are very good at what they do, but from a consistency standpoint, why does that matter to you?
Well, it matters because everybody gets, you kind of just have so much corporate knowledge built up, and over time, our staff knows exactly what I want. There's an incredible amount of trust that's built up for new ideas and freedom and license to just implement new ideas. And the other thing that happens is you have a shared terminology. Like you kind of have a language and a terminology that binds a culture. The way you describe things, the words that you use, it resonates quickly with your players. Everybody knows what it means. You can tie it to experiences. These are all things that, continuity, gives you, and we've had it in our staff, and I think it's one of the reasons we have one of the best staffs in the league, if not the best staff in the league. We have so much experience, and we're also really put a lot of import on just not taking yourself too seriously, being a normal guy, just trying to stay humble in a world where sometimes it's easy to not be.
Tomorrow evening season opener against the Portland Trailblazers, featuring the likes of Shadon Sharp and Donovan Clingan. It's going to be on FM 100.3 KFAN. The Wild play the Devils early. Then after, so we got a doubleheader of live sports action with the local teams tomorrow night, Wild and Devils. And that goes right into Chris Finch's team, the Timberwolves, opening the season against the Portland Trailblazers. What do you think of the city of Portland? I've never been. I've never been to Oregon. What's Portland like?
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful state in general. I think the city. I actually like the city a lot. It reminds me of some of the smaller European cities that I've either lived in and around. Kind of smaller city streets, hilly, very green. Sits upon a river. It's fallen on some hard times recently, like a lot of cities have.
Yes,
but you can see it's starting to come back to where it was a few years ago. And everybody I know that's ever lived there just raves about it. And I have quite a few friends who have moved there or have ended up there, and they've all loved it.
So with the Blazers, Drew Holiday, the scrappy point, used to play for the Bucks and the Celtics. Drew Holiday, he should be pesky for them, right?
Yeah, I think, having coached Drew in New Orleans, and maintaining a relationship with him, I think he was excited for the move at this point in his career. He's got a couple championships under his belt. Now he gets to go back to a young team with a veteran presence and perspective, and he's just a wonderful human being, great player. He's like really a connector on offense and defense. So he's really I think well positioned to have a kind of a good year. I think he's looking forward to playing a bit more of a prominent role. Just has a lot of basketball left in him. I know that.
Now, Chris, with your team, can you verbally paint this with a broad brush when I ask, what do you like about your team? The 2025-2026 Minnesota Timberwolves. What do you like about your squad?
Well, I like our players individually. They're fun to work with every single day. Great pros. Again, have a personality where none of them take themselves too seriously. I like the fact that we have a good sense of who we need to be every single day when we walk in here. I feel like we always have great depth and flexibility in our roster. We can play big, we can play small. We have good young talent that's energizing the group. We have outstanding veteran leadership, and our young core. That's been. I call them a young core. They've been together for 5-6 years now. They've done a lot of winning. Anthony, Jaden, Oz, they've done a lot of winning. And when you look across their peer group, they probably outperformed them in that category alone.
Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves and Blazers to start the season tomorrow night on KFAN. That's going to be a fun one. And your home opener is Sunday versus Indiana. Then Denver's here the next night. You're first with OKC. They play tonight. I think they hook Houston tonight with Kevin Durant. No Fred VanVleet out for the year, I believe. But you're first with the champs. OKC is in 5 weeks. Anything new with OKC? The roster looks the same. Continuity is important to them. The Caruso trick now heads into year number 2. That's the target at which to shoot for sure, right?
Oh, for sure. But, I think you can get yourself in trouble in a conference as tough as ours this year in the West if you're just focused on one team. I really believe that every night is going to be a must-win game or feel like a must-win game for sure. And so I don't think it's you can spend too much time just focusing on the one team because there's so many teams out here in the West with slightly different styles too. I think that's what you're seeing now.
Right.
It's one thing I do like about the league. I would say a few years ago it was pretty homogeneous league. Everybody kind of looked the same, felt the same, played the same. Now you see different styles of play coming back into it based on roster construction. And that's kind of interesting.
So you mean in a 3-point game, all right, with the corner three and all the threes that you guys and the Celtics and other teams have shot over the years, when you say that, the first thing I thought was, all right, DeAndre Ayton goes to the LA Lakers. Now, when DeAndre is happy and healthy and engaged, he at one point was a really, really good pick and roll center. Emphasis on the happy, healthy, and engaged. All right, well, he's with Luka and LeBron now. So I envision that, but I think, hey, can they throw it down low to Ayton and create a low post type game in a 3-point shooting league? Do you mean things like that, like maybe more low post action or what?
Yeah, I'm not sure that is going to be prominent in the league. I do feel like the guys that are really good at it are posted up down there, get the ball down there enough. I don't think it's something that everyone's going to all of a sudden look to feature. I do feel, the volume of threes is going to maintain its level, if not continue to slightly increase. I just think different teams are running slightly different systems. Where, as a couple of years ago, I thought there was just it was a massive copycat league. And some of that's just, again, related to roster construction. We're a perfect example of that. Everyone a few years ago was trying to play 5-out basketball. Now these rosters are trending larger, bigger, bigger players, skilled bigs. So, you will see obviously some more post ups, but just, how people are employing their bigs on their roster will often dictate how they have to play. But because we're seeing more and more bigs now on the floor and playing, I do think, it forces different styles of play.
Chris joins 9 to noon weekly during the basketball season, the Wolves season, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. Give the website a look, please, twoharvest.org. It's been outstanding, not only working with Chris, but working with Second Harvest Heartland over the course of the years. And what a wonderful, wonderful group, twoharvest.org. With your squad, Chris, anything different with Anthony Edwards into the season? Again, just verbally paint with a broad brush here. We know Ant gets those threes. Yeah, I mean, we just know how good Anthony can be at so many things, but is there anything different with him into tomorrow night's game?
Well, I think we maybe expect him to play on the ball a little bit more. I think we'll try to, play him as a lead guard more and more. Try to grow his two-man game with Julius a little bit more. Just subtle things like that. I do feel like we're going to see a more consistent defensive performance from Ant. We know it's capable. We know we need it. Some of the things we're looking to do defensively require it now. Just getting a little bit better across a lot of things. When you already do a lot of things well, just improving those things marginally makes big gains.
With Dante Vincenzo, have you ever asked him why he wears number 0?
I would imagine I have never asked him, but I would imagine it's because it's the last vowel in his name. But that's just a guess.
Yeah, I just can't wrap my mind around those who wear 0. Like for the Vikings, Ivan Pace Jr. wears 0. Yeah, I mean, like Robert Parrish, Chief, wasn't he 00?
He was double. Terrence Shannon Jr. was 00 last year.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think he changed. So.
What number? What was your favorite? What did you wear when you played?
Oof. I wore 32 in college.
Was that because of Magic Johnson?
No, because that was what was available that fit me. So when you were in high school and small college, that stuff was pre-printed. They didn't. You didn't get the picture jersey. You wore what fit.
Hey, with last one here, with and I really look forward to the weekly conversations. Thank you very much. With some of the youth of your team, you just mentioned Terrence Shannon Jr. How much do you expect early from Jalen Clark, maybe Rob Dillingham, and Terrence Shannon Jr.? What do you expect from them early in the season?
Yeah, we expect them all to contribute in some capacity. I think the rotation is going. We're going to play probably 9.5 players, which is just a different way of saying we'll play 9 players every night, and then situationally, I think we have the luxury of playing that other guys, that other young player. So it could be what do we need? Do we need defense? Do we need shooting? Do we need point guard play? Do we need quickness and speed, et cetera, et cetera? So we have a lot of things that those guys give us individually. That was one kind of benefit in Nikhil, that he had all those things wrapped up into one. But we're really excited about what these guys are able to bring, and we feel like they'll all be contributing early on in the season.
The more Clark's offense improves, that's gravy, right? I mean, because that perimeter defense can be high end. I mean, if you can, whatever offense you get out of him, that's like
sure.
gravy.
I mean, everyone sees him as a great defender, which he is, and he's a tone setter, and that's what we love. But his shot is, from the time he stepped into this organization, his shot has improved greatly. It's very consistent when he lets it go. I think it's always going in. He's got a great knack for cutting off the ball. which is, almost a lost art these days. And he gets to the free throw line, on his drives. So he does a lot of things sneaky good offensively. And he's always helping with his spacing and his screening and stuff he does without the ball. Points, of course, we're not relying on him to score a lot of points, but I feel like he can score in a variety of ways when the opportunities are there. And that's what he does a great job of. It's just like waiting, staying patient. And when those opportunities come, he does make the most of them.
And when we next chat, you most likely will have played Portland, the Lakers, then Indiana and Denver. A couple of games at home. By the way, you might be able to come to the Vikings-Chargers game Thursday night, right? I mean, you got the Lakers the next night.
I think so. Yeah, wow. We absolutely talked about it. So don't be surprised if you see me there.
So are you going to ask for fourth row seats behind the Chargers bench and wear a game-worn Dan Fouts?
No, not at all, my friend.
I'm playing
wearing a Brand Tarkenton jersey.
Yeah, that'd be sweet if you guys can come out and maybe we get you up to the Vox Box, the broadcast booth, watch a little of the game up there if you get the opportunity. That'd be sweet.
That'd be fun.
Lastly, since you're going to play those 4 games probably before we chat again, the Nuggets, okay, with Jokic, obviously it starts and stops there. David Adelman, who used to be here, he's the coach. They added Cameron Johnson. Just when you got Joker and Jamal Murray, well, that's definitely a target at which to shoot. But what do you think of the Nuggets this year?
As ever, they're going to be extremely good. It all revolves around Jokic, as we know. It looks like I think they've got some good complementary pieces, added some depth. Valanciunas as a backup big poses problems because, to your point earlier, they will throw him the ball in the low post, and he has the opportunity to kind of take advantage of maybe some second-unit centers that don't have the size or the strength to battle him. That's a nice change of pace that they haven't had. Jamal Murray is still super dangerous. I think where they've probably gotten a little bit better is defensively with Johnson and Bruce Brown, being able to kind of pick up their slack defensively on the perimeter.
You're fantastic. Safe travels to you and the Covenant, and maybe we'll see you Thursday night. If not, we'll chat next week, all right?
I appreciate it, PA. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks, bud. Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org. Our final non-Vikings or football-related segment takes place around the corner. We go to the NYC and chat with one of our dear friends, Kevin Gorg, who was at the Wild Victory last evening against the New York Rangers. That's part of the Timber Tech What's on Deck set list. Nordo produces 9 to noon from Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center with yours truly, Paul Allen. And Brett Blakemore guides the great ship Love Covenant back at FM 100.3 KFAN. And he also has some money to give away. Good morning, Double B.
And good morning. Yes, the cash thing. The fan and 2 Men and a Jug Truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks, the national cash contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is win. The keyword win. KFAN.com. Keyword win. Gorgie is next. Bonus Bucks is back on the Fan. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. 10 keywords. Learn more. Head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by 2 Men and a Junk Truck.
Off won the draw. Johansson left side, offensive zone, cut pass a check below the goal line, around on a wraparound pitch. Sirkin to save, it's loose. They backhand and score! Danila Yurov, his first NHL goal, and he's given the Wild the lead here at Madison Square Garden with 11:44 to go.
Joe O'Donnell on KFAN last night calling a goal in a Minnesota Wild victory over the New York Rangers. And we head to the East Coast. We head to the concrete jungle to catch up with one of our favorites, Kevin Gorg. He is the side rink pre and post game analyst for FanDuel. And he was on air, on site, and on demand last night for the victory. You can follow him and or interact with him via the X machine at Gorgomatic21, at Gorgomatic21. Kevin, how have you been, my dear friend?
Very good, PA. Always great to chat with you. And this is my favorite city on the road schedule every year. So I'm thrilled to be in said concrete jungle.
What do you like about New York City?
I could never live here. My head would spin. But when I come here, I'm always moving. Central Park, staple for me. Broadway show, which I'll do tonight. There's just so much to do. The great food. I had a chance to go to dinner with Louis Nanny and your guy LaPanta a couple nights ago. A great Italian spot here. It's one of those places you've been here. Like, it's nonstop. Like,
yeah,
I could not live here, but I love to visit here. I'll keep it that way.
Well, you being a movie buff or a movies snob, have you ever taken? Because you've done this 2 decades now. I mean, what are you into? You're like your 20th year?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. So you've been there a million times, but being a movie buff with like not Escape from New York with Snake Plissken, that would be different. Like, say, A Bronx Tale. Do you ever like try to venture to neighborhoods like that? So I don't know, maybe you can see a table outside of an Italian restaurant with a checkered tablecloth and some old guy sitting there with cigars, and there's a phone on the table.
Yeah, I find myself, because of my love of movies, PA, I love walking around the city, especially around Central Park, and going to places that have been featured in movies. Of course, Home Alone in New York, the Plaza Hotel, a restaurant called Serendipity 3 was featured in John Cusack's Serendipity. We're not far from the Empire State Building, which so many movies, but Sleepless in Seattle, one of my favorites with Tom Hanks. So I love going to different spots that have been featured in some of my favorite movies. And when you're in New York, there are, dozens upon dozens of places to do that.
Sweet win last night at Madison Square Garden, which is arena immortality. And personally, I felt excellent for Gus. I felt excellent for the goaltender, who was enduring a rough patch. And there are going to be, as you know, there are going to be games where he gives up 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 3. But I think we had a 5 and a 6 in there, which is not preferred. So I felt really good for him last night to be able to leave with the money the way he did. What do you think of that?
I completely agree. And when you're going up against Igor Shesterkin, a Rangers goalie who's widely considered one of the best 2 or 3 goalies in the world, he came into the game last night with a save percentage up over 96, which is ridiculous. And then you look at Gus's most recent start on this road trip. I mean, he was the really only good thing to say about the Washington game. We got a shot 45 to 15 in that game. And so he gave up some goals, but he was actually really good in that game. And so to have him come out and play like he did last night, I thought he was great all night, but specifically in the third period when the Rangers really came with a push, the save he made on Zibanejad on the weak side with that glove was a game-changing save. And he just looked fully in control of himself all night long. And he really has, except for one game. The Columbus game at home was certainly a clunker, but other than that, he's given the team a chance to win every time he has started. And I think it's really cool that, the other Swede, Jesper Wallstedt, is starting to push him. And that's good. Competition in that crease is a good thing. And so we don't know who's going to be in goal tomorrow night in New Jersey. It likely will be Gus. But because Wallstedt's played so well, that competition is off and running. And that's a good thing for this team.
KG, first NHL goal last night for Danila Yurov, a first-round pick in 2022. What are we liking about him?
From day one, he has a high hockey IQ. Super smart player, PA. He knows what to do without the puck, and you can just slowly kind of see him settling in. He's a super quiet kid, doesn't really speak English much yet. In fact, Kirill Kaprizov, ironically, has had to translate a couple interviews we've done in the locker room with him. But now you're starting to see him take steps. And one of those steps is getting to the net. When you play hockey over in Russia, when you play the European brand of hockey, the physical stuff that the NHL provides is a challenge. And he is starting to, where he scored his goal last night, get to the middle of the rink. He's a really good skater. He's a responsible player. And there's offensive skill there. We just hadn't seen a lot of that in training camp. I think he played a real safe and smart game in camp. And now I think you're starting to see the 21-year-old starting to get a couple of looks on the top line. You saw John Hines early in the game give him a shift or two with Boldy and Kaprizov. You're seeing him get some power play time, and you're seeing his game grow. And I think right now we're just scratching the surface. But when a kid like that finally scores that first goal, a lot of times that will set them in motion, and they'll be a little more aggressive with and without the puck, getting into those areas they need to get to. And this kid's clearly got a ton of talent, and I think the upside is going to be fun for us as Wild fans to watch.
KG from New York City after the Wild beat the Rangers last evening. This is 9 to noon.
Hey, Gorgie, we knew that power play bonanza that we saw early on was probably not sustainable. But what have you seen from the team specifically 5-on-5? I know, last few games, a couple of them being L's, sadly, but all the same, 5v5, are we seeing some life there?
We are, Nordo, and great point, because when they got out of the gates at near 47% on the power play, that's just not sustainable. And they're still sitting at over 34%. They're still the number one power play in the league. But if you're going to win games consistently in this league, you've got to win the 5-on-5. And what we've seen here on this road trip specifically is their blue liners start to get involved. The Washington game, which was not a game the Wild are probably real proud to put on tape, their D were really quiet. And then you saw those numbers jump up. The analytics doubled with blue line pushing the offense and getting 20 shots to the net. And then again, you saw it last night, starting with Brodin's goal to get the Wild back in the game after the Rangers had taken that 1-0 lead. This has always been and will always be a team that is built from the back end when it comes to offense. And you clearly can see the young talent now on that blue line with Zeke Boyum. And now we're getting to see a little bit of David Jiricek. Like, this is a team that wants to push it from the back end, making good plays, using speed, getting defensemen involved in the rush. And when they do that, they're a good hockey team. When they don't do that, like in Washington, then they play on their heels and it's not the same product. So great question. And I think if you continue to see the blue liners push the pace, that's a good thing.
Well, and to that end, kind of early on, and you love seeing Kaprizov and Boldy. I believe both have 10 points through this first stretch of games, and that's a positive thing, of course. But whether it is seeing Urov get into the mix, whether it is Brodin getting that goal, and you mentioned the young blue liners and how this team aims to push it, finding scoring among other lines, finding that complementary work, such an A topic, right? And maybe this team could be leveling out, specifically whether it's even strength and getting other contributors into the mix.
No question. And Vladimir Tarasenko scoring that goal in Philadelphia, to me, can be a real impactful play here moving forward. Certainly, Marco Rossi, I don't think is going to be out too long here. He's a very durable player. He played 82 games in each of the last 2 seasons. It doesn't sound like it's going to be anything more than a game or two. Get him back in the fold, and certainly sometime in late November, early December, when you get a guy like Zuccarello back, you want to get to the point here, guys, where you have 2 different lines that are dangerous. Right now, the trap they're falling into, and it's, again, nothing John Hines can do with the players they're missing. You look at last night with Zuccarello and Rossi on lineup, you have to load up that top line, and that's a double-edged sword. The top line's awesome, but the opposition, when you're on the road, has last change, and they can set the matchup, and you're likely going to be going out there every single shift against whatever team you're playing's best defensively. And so you've seen their production. The top 2 guys, Boldy and Kaprizov, taper just a little bit here on this road trip, and it's a bigger challenge when you don't have another line to take pressure off them. So if you can get Rossi back in the mix, if you can get Tarasenko going, you can get Johansson to continue to play well. Quietly, guys, Marcus Johansson is playing really good hockey right now, and the Wild need him. They need him to continue to produce, because you can't rely on that top line every single night, especially when you're out on the road.
The best. Thank you very much for making time. I know your morning's busy out NYC way, and expect us to contact you next week, Gorgie, with the Breeders' Cup on the horizon, okay?
Yeah, we're about 11 days away from the Breeders' Cup, so I look forward to that conversation. Have a good day, guys.
Later, brother. Kevin Gorg, at Gorgamatic21 via Twitter, if you would like to follow. The football portion of the equation commences around the corner. Minnesota Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah joins 9 to noon next.
If you want to chime in what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can. You can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. So let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard text message and data rate supply.
with Minnesota Vikings general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, who will join 9 to noon today. Could be very soon. Could be within the next 15 minutes. Not exactly sure what that equation is, but nevertheless, we will unfurl it when the general manager joins us. When we come to Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, and we've done this pretty much since week 2 on, creating something called hyperbolic or hyperaccurate takes. Takes, talkers, tips, tedium, however you want to look at it. Is it hyperbolic or is it hyperaccurate? And I'd like to begin here. The Detroit Lions are the best in the NFC North, and it's not even close.
I'm leaning towards hyper-accurate with that. And that has required me, as we would joke around, changing my face on the kiddies with the new coordinators and all of the new that has taken place in Detroit. Watching them just systematically dismantle everybody that they are playing right now, sans the opener against the Pack.
Right.
What were they going to lose on offense with Gibbs and Montgomery trying to find that correct mix and trying to target and take advantage of the brilliance in Amon-Ra St. Brown? Oh, wait, they've lost nothing. What about this offensive line and all that change? Goff got beaten up a little bit by that nice Tampa front. Yeah. For the most part, it hasn't changed, and Goff has remained super efficient. They find the explosives that they had before with Ben Johnson. And then defensively, PA, they've gotten healthier. And a guy that we know and respect, but he was hurt. And it's almost like you forget when somebody's gone, and then they come back and you're like, oh, that guy. Aleem McNeil? Yeah. Are you kidding me right now with that? So they're surviving some injuries and some issues specifically in the secondary. Mm-hmm. They're the same damn team, man. They are the best in the NFC North. All respect and even some appreciation for the nasty neighbors to the east and what the Pack were able to do, surviving via matriculation and in some ways attrition over the course of that game against Jacoby Brissett. I think the Lions are right back in the catbird seat of the North.
Now, in the NBA, there are how many games in a regular season?
82.
Okay, so here is the next one outside of the football covenant. A hyperbolic or hyper-accurate. OKC will win 74 games and set a new NBA record for season wins. It's within the last decade, I believe, the Golden State Warriors won 73 games.
Yeah.
And I think that passed Michael Jordan's Bulls team from days gone by, winning 72.
Yeah, 72-10, and then 73-9, the Dubs were, yeah.
Okay, 74-8 or 75-7, hyperbolic or hyper-accurate. OKC will win 74 games, I guess at least, but 74 games, and set a new NBA record for season wins.
I think that's, at this stage, incredibly hyperbolic.
Really?
And it's not that they aren't the best team in the West, but injuries occur. I think we've seen over the last near decade now, 7 or 8 consecutive different NBA champions. So you speak to the parity in the league. And whether it's us messing around, talking LFL stuff, fantasy basketball, or just kind of bumping around over the course of the season, chatting with Finch and watching our favorite team, how muddy is this freaking West, man? I mean, even your conversation with him, it's like, how do they keep figuring it out in Denver? I know Jokic is otherworldly, absolutely otherworldly. But Jamal Murray and just getting through his injuries, the supporting cast has been weird. They kind of dust off Aaron Gordon, make him into what he is. Christian Brown emerging as maybe that third or fourth potential scoring option. Like the Nuggets just come to play, and they are so tough as anybody in the NBA. Then you think about the Houston Rockets. Then you think about the Lakers, maybe a slimmed down Luka and an aging LeBron, certainly, but a different cast of characters around him. The West is so difficult. And I focus on the West just because obviously that's where most of the games will be played from a standpoint with OKC. I think it's incredibly hyperbolic because the West is as talented as it is. And I went down a list of teams without even mentioning our favorite team with our favorite player that has a right to be better this year. I just can't see them getting through this conference with 74 wins.
Fair. Hyperbolic or hyper-accurate? Bo Nix is the best quarterback from the 2024 class, and it's becoming not even close.
I think that's also hyperbolic. Mm-hmm. I think that first of all, the jury's still out. Mm-hmm. But look at Drake May, man. Look at
you got Jaden Daniels, who he ran away from him by 20 lengths last year.
And so, and he is probably Jaden Daniels is probably still in the lead there. Sophomore campaign's been tough for him from a health standpoint, so that has to factor in. Our favorite guy, it's been an entire conversation of health the entire time. Even Caleb Williams, it looks like he is evolving with Ben Johnson. They can win 4 in a row. Look a little bit at that schedule, dig into some of those games a bit, and the grind is real still for Ben Johnson and the Bears. Bo Nix, it's impressive what they did, the 33 points in the fourth quarter. I get it. But there are still moments where they're putting themselves in those spots, PA. So I'd love to dig a little bit deeper in terms of what it takes for Sean Payton to put Bo Nix in those spots using his legs. He makes some terrific throws. He also still makes some boneheaded decisions. So for me, Jaden Daniels still in the mix. I think Drake May is getting some late speed, and he's catching up quick.
Let's pause now. When we return, Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah joins 9 to noon.